Good afternoon, my people. Thank you for coming back to another Tony Montana video. We are going to talk about old timers. The old timers. What is an old timer in our environment, in our community? An old timer is a person or at least the label old timer or OG, or more, some people still they call them OGs, but I call them old timers because it's widely used. But what is that? Well, basically it's a person that has been in the dogs for decades. And when I say being in the dogs, I'm talking about actively. And I'm talking about in different aspects of the dogs. Not just feeding them, not just cleaning your yard, not just walking them. The whole thing, the whole ensemble of what a dogman will be. But these are dogmen that have been doing it for decades. So we respectfully call them, OGs or the old timers. But you have to be very careful. Not all old timers in the American people community are good people. And this is what I'm telling you, because we already think, oh man, I'm looking for a mentor, man, or I'm looking for an OG or old timer that wants to give me their knowledge. That's the mentality of many of you young people, and I understand it. I was there. I'm always open to learn from people that have been in the dog for decades. But the thing that I've learned, this is the thing that you have to learn without going through the experiences I've had. This is why I'm mentioning it, so that you don't make the same mistakes and you don't lose in those mistakes. You have to be tired. A lot of these old timers, and I'm referring to the old timers, people that really started in the dogs in the 90s, late 80s, or the 80s and 90s. People that started in the 80s and 90s, and they were. This is when there was an increase in, obviously, dog activity, American people terrier activity. Let's call it that. These individuals in the 80s and 90s that got into the dogs, then these were, for the most part, obviously we're not going to generalize, but for the most part, the people that came into the dogs in the 80s and 90s, obviously 2000s as well, but you can't really, it's harder to call a person that started in 2000 an old timer. So I'm saying 80s and 90s as fair distance from 2022. So these individuals, these individuals got into the dogs with easy money. Okay, so they were also doing other illicit activity. They were selling drugs. They were into gangs. Like back in the day, for you guys, the young people that weren't alive or can't remember the 80s or the 90s, we're living in Disneyland or Disney World in comparison to the 80s and 90s. 80s and 90s, it was no joke. There were, like I said, there was a lot of violence, a lot of gangs, everything, a lot of drugs, I go back and a lot of violence, a lot of weapons involved. There was a lot of going on back then. And these type of individuals came into the dogs, had the easy money to buy, had the easy money to get people to condition their dogs, had money to put heavy money on the dogs. So we definitely needed to make sure that you gotta make sure who you're dealing with. And even some is like, oh no, my uncle started me, blah blah blah. I'm not the first generation. You gotta be careful. Be careful, because these individuals have learned that they should be doing anything and everything. Lie, steal, do trickery, be dishonorable, no cerca, sí. You gotta wait for a little bit. Come on, mama. Mary Jane, come on, let's go, mama. Hey, your mama, let's go. Good girl, mama, let's go. Come on. Oh, yeah, he's like, you want to say something? Sorry about that, guys. So anyway, going back to these guys and these supposedly the new old timers. Let's call them the new old timers because that's from the 80s and 90s are these new old timers. These are, a lot of them are the ones you need to be careful or stay away from or just keep them in 16 feet in front of you. You know, that because these are the individuals that were taught to be, you know, dishonorable, just to cover everything. You know, so they will lie to you. They will tell you what you want to hear. They will teach you, if anything, just enough to keep you on the hook. Oh no, she's like looking. She's looking. And by the way, please say hello to Mary Jane, my little friend Mary Jane. Hi, your mama. You still looking for him? Look at her. Alright, there you go. She's looking for dogs. But anyway, so you gotta be careful, man. Don't. Oh, they seen another dog. So she's going bananas for that other dog. This is the dog is 32 pounds. Between 32 and 33 pounds. So her condition weight when she's older, I would say that it's going to be 32, 33 pounds. As you can see, I don't keep them fat, but I don't keep them lean. I keep them in a decent condition, not too fat, not too skinny, so that they live healthier lives. But anyway, so I do think that condition she probably will be when she's completely grown, maybe 32 pounds, 33 pounds, maybe. So just gotta be careful with the individuals that you deal with. I'm always emphasizing that because, you know, again, I've made errors trusting people, and I really hope that you don't make the same errors, because I believe that a new generation, today's generation, there's a lot of good people. There's a lot of good people in that generation, in the new generation of dogs today. There's a lot of people that haven't been, you know, tarnished, haven't been taught the nastiness that used to be in the 90s and the 80s. You know, you got to be careful. That's all I'm going to tell you now. Hope this is Tony Montana signing off.